What people say in public and what they actually think can often be two different things, which is going to be the main focus of today's video. But I'm not going to waste any time, so let's get into it.
What is more important in a man, financial stability or emotional stability?
Emotional. Yes, definitely.
Emotional stability.
Emotional stability.
Emotional. Emotional.
Oh, she's thinking.
Oh.
She's thinking.
Oh. Emotional?
Okay.
Emotional stability.
Emotional stability is really important for me, and then we can figure out being financially stable.
I like that.
Yeah, I feel like emotional stability, because I think financial it's not that hard to get.
Okay, so what made me want to do this video wasn't so much about the content itself, although we're going to get into that, but the way this creator responded to people in the comments, I thought was something important to react to.
What women say and what women respond to are completely different.
Stop making excuses for why you don't like women.
I think these sorts of discussions are causing a lot of tension as it is, but as a creator, I don't think that this sort of response to a comment is helpful at all. Now, some people might be thinking, well, what if the commenter really does hate women? And truthfully, that doesn't matter at all, and I'm gonna tell you why. There are a lot of people who are new to this conversation, and they don't really know what to make of things. And most of the time, these people don't leave comments or anything like that. They simply sit back and watch. So, rather than replying to the guy, suggesting that he has a hatred for women, effectively shutting down the conversation before it even gets started, why not dig more into it and find out why he thinks that way? Even if he is someone who hates women, the people reading through the comments may not be, so responding appropriately is more for their benefit than anything else.
Politically correct answer. I'm not surprised.
Stop making excuses for why you don't like women.
Even with this person, it's the same thing, and for the life of me, I don't get why that's the immediate response to someone's comment. The fact of the matter is, people often say one thing in public and do the complete opposite when no one's looking.
I don't do drugs.
And it's not just a woman thing. Were the ladies in this video being honest with their responses? Maybe, maybe not. There's no way to know for sure. But it's perfectly reasonable for me to also assume that most people won't want to say anything on camera that makes them look bad, and there's no benefit for them to do so. Let's say, for instance, that these women were all about the money, and that was the most important thing when it comes to getting with someone. It's more likely to damage their reputation than anything else. Of course, you're gonna have some people who just don't care, but generally speaking, you're likely to get more honest answers when questions like this can be answered anonymously. I'm not saying that an emotional stable man isn't important for a long-term relationship. Of course it is. But let's not pretend that before things even get that far, most women would like to know that a guy's in good financial standing before they decide to give him a real shot.
Would you date a man who earns less money than you?
Yes. Yes, I do well, so okay.
So you might if it's everything else lines up.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You would?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. Awesome.
Even though women are able to make their own way in the world these days, a lot of them would still prefer it if their partner made around the same or more than they did. And there's nothing new about this. I mean, this survey by Pew Research shows as much, detailing what most people think, which I assume is both men and women, would prefer in a relationship. Of course, I'll leave a link to this in the description so you can check it out. Needless to say, I'm not going to claim that the women in this video are being dishonest. It may very well be the case that they'd be happy being the breadwinner. It's just that in reality, that doesn't seem to be the case. And maybe it'll change one day. But as of for right now, the majority of women would prefer if their partner was the one mostly responsible for the financial side of things.
The right answer is no. I was married to one, and no. I don't encourage women to do that. You're not his mom. I'm not talking about guys in their 20s. After 30, he needs to have more than a woman.
Does him earning more than you make him your dad?
No, it makes him a man. Money is power. If I have the power, why do I need him? Not to mention that 80% of them expect women to cook, clean, etc. No thanks.
See, just like this woman said here, when women are making good money on their own, they have no interest in a man. So much for loving us for who we are on the inside, right?
It really depends on how much less. Not because he has to give it to me, but because the differences in lifestyle would eventually become a problem. And I mean this both ways.
both ways isn't the case. When a man makes much more than a woman, he has no problem spending money on trips or anything else because he values a woman outside of her money.
And this is true. Men usually have no problem when it comes to bringing a woman into their world. But women, they're not excited about doing that sort of thing. And I've heard this explained and talked about time and time again.
You need to get out in the real world. You need to go to the grocery store. You need to go to a theme park. You need to go to a sporting event. You need to just look around at the mall, at the couples that are there, and you think every man that has a woman is rich? Think about it. Just think for a moment. Look around you. There are average people in relationships everywhere. You are making excuses. You're angry. You're mad that maybe you've been rejected. You're mad of what you see on TikTok or what you see online, but you need to get out in the real world. That is not how it works. Average people get married every day. It's not just women going after rich guys. Stop making excuses. It just sounds like you don't like women. You're attracted to them, but you don't like them.
Now, this is a much better way to respond to people who leave comments on videos, as it allows for the conversation to continue. Outside of all that though, he's right in that average men and women are getting into relationships every day. And what you see online isn't always a true reflection of what's actually going on. That said though, maintaining a healthy relationship these days is tougher than ever, as there's a lot more working against your relationship than for it. But that's a story for another day, I guess. When people talk about women only wanting rich or high-value guys, this is often an exaggeration, and I'd like to think that most people don't mean it literally. And instead, what they're trying to illustrate is that what women are looking for from men financially is much more demanding than it was in years gone by. At the end of the day, men are just having a tough time with women these days, and the divide doesn't seem to be getting any narrower. And this issue goes way beyond how much a guy earns.
Are alpha males as attractive as men think they are? Be honest.
No. No, we don't need all the alpha energy all the time.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I'm not big into the super alpha male trend that is trending now.
I don't believe in alpha males.
I second that. Yeah, I second that.
You too?
Oh, yeah. I second hers. No.
No?
I'm sorry, no.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
well, I don't know, I would say I'm not sure on that one.
You're not sure?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you.
Now, I actually left a comment on this video. I think that talking about alpha males amongst humans is hard. Someone might be an alpha in one setting, but in another, they'll find themselves looking towards someone else for guidance and leadership. This is because humans live in all sorts of conditions. And while someone might thrive and be able to run shit in the city, if you drop their ass in a battlefield, it's another story. Anyway, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to define an alpha male as a guy who can command a room, lead, protect, and provide for the people in his tribe or circle. Someone who's able to do these things or has these qualities isn't necessarily going to be the loudest person in the room, because that's not what defines a leader. When it comes to what you may be able to class as an alpha male, the majority of women would go for this type of guy. The problem is, it seems like the women in this video think that alpha males are the types of dudes you often find online selling courses to men about male excellence and all that. But in truth, that's just not the case. There's a massive difference between the immature arrogance you see online by some creators and a man who can really lead and make the people around him feel safe.
Is it okay for a man to cry?
Depends on the circumstances. I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I think it is. I think it's good when men show their emotions. I don't think they should hold it in at all. And I think it's better for communication in the relationship if they do.
Would you judge a man for going to therapy?
No, not at all.
No?
No. No.
Is
I
it
do more for not going to therapy.
okay?
No.
At all.
All of them should.
Yeah, all of them definitely should, for sure.
No. Yeah.
Do you find it more or less attractive if a man opens up emotionally?
More attractive.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
More attractive. I would say more. There's obviously context matters.
Sure.
Yeah. Much more attractive.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's really important that they do and that you're able to communicate with one another and also with other people in your lives.
I think it's more attractive. I think if it's a lot, maybe not as attractive,
not
but
overly.
like, yeah, not
I feel
overly.
like if it's a lot at the beginning and all at once, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
let's like get to know each other a bit more.
Yeah.
But, like, I think it's good to be emotional and vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because we're also like bots.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of those clips that I have to call cap on because women always talk about how they want men to be open and emotional. But when that shit happens, it's not as cute as they thought it'd be. Some of the women in the video even go out of their way to say that a guy can't cry too much because it'd be off-putting. But how much is too much? And if a man's gonna have to bottle up his emotions because it might prove to be too much, why bother open up in the first place? Again, saying that you want your man to feel comfortable crying sounds all good on camera. But when it starts happening in your actual relationship, it's another story. While it's not a popular thing to say these days, women do like men who are strong and can handle shit when things get tough. The last thing they'd want is for their partner to break down in tears if they found themselves in a stressful or dangerous situation. But if a woman were to lose it and get all emotional, men won't care or judge her for it. And let's not pretend like that isn't the case. In an ideal world, it'd be great if a guy could just cry and let it all out whenever he felt like it. But as a society, we're not quite there yet, and this sort of thing will likely come back to bite him in the ass. Now, things are a little different if a man's in a real long-term relationship or marriage, because they're going to have to be vulnerable with their partner. But even then, I'd never recommend that you cry on your wife's shoulder whenever you get the chance. Anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down below and I'll catch you on the next one.